Hello, everybody, for the final time, at least before the epilogue. Welcome to the finale episode, session number 22 of the Athenaeum Tabletop campaign. We are here one more time with our players. It's a very bittersweet time. I was just telling the Athenaeum players that I just had my session Ready Persona -1 session the other day in preparation for the next campaign, so that's super exciting. So nice to know that there are things in the future. Very sad, of course, because I'm going to miss this group of players a lot, like I always do. Which is why I told Alex again, this is why I'm stopping this after 10 years, because I can't handle the heartbreak. I can't handle the heartbreak each time. So, since this is our very last warm-up question, I thought it would be fitting for us to share your favorite moment or moments in the game, and this can be in character or out of character. There's so many to choose from, so I'm not going to pick just one moment. Pretty much some of my favorite moments with any campaign includes the beginning, just because it's just really cool just to see all of the players figure out not only their characters, but figure out their relationships and chemistry with each other, with the other characters. The origin stories have always been one of my favorite parts of any campaign. As a video gamer, I think my favorite world that you all went to was probably Lonix World, honestly, just because, like, Tetris, do I have to say anything more? Tetris and Pac-Man and Mario Kart and Street Fighter, and of course the classic, like, platform games. That was like a fever dream that I really enjoyed a lot personally as a GM.
So I've got two, one for in character, one for just me as a gamer. So for me as a gamer, I have to say Sue's World was one of my favorites because the concepts for the characters that we came up with were also varied and different. I thought Sue's World was a great place for us to really start getting out of, kind of character and thinking about how we related to the bigger picture. So I thought it was a great way for us to explore the possibilities of what our characters could do. And I just thought it was a lot of fun going up against the spaghetti monsters, and it was just a good session. For in character, I would have to say one of my favorite was actually in Star's World when everybody was splitting off. Sam trying to keep the threads of who was doing what. I mean, why was Black Powder sneaking off with this person? What were Frankie and Tori doing in the park? With Star, what was it that was allowing him to get kidnapped so often? It was just so much going on in that world that Sam, I felt, was trying to keep all these threads from going different directions, and then just was like, you know what, I can't do it. Just don't get yourselves in trouble. So it was a fun session for me too.
I think I've said this before many times, but I still think probably one of my favorite moments or really sessions would be when we all went into Tori's world. And I just, everyone played into their tropes so well. Really threw us a lot of curveballs. We had to think creatively and on our feet. Obviously, Tori died, which was, that's a whole other thing. But it was just a very emotional session. And I think as a group, it just kind of brought us all together in character and out of character too, a little bit. So I don't know. I still think fondly back to those couple of sessions in Tori's world. And just, I don't know, out of character, I don't have any one particular moment. Actually, I'll point out the mistake that Micah said last session with Jazz. Was probably one of my favorite out of character moments that I'll remember fondly for the rest of my life. So thank you, Micah.
On that note, I think I should go next. So Alex, y'all want to go?
Go ahead.
Okay. Oh my glob. Okay, first, I have a lot of them. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's impossible to take one. I would say out of character, when Frankie ran on his psionic energy to save Agatha, dope moment. That was just bomb. That was just excellent. Watching Black Powder become a sweetheart, watching him come from this villain to actually essentially a father figure to most of the players. Watching Tori become a woman, after death, she gains so much life and experience. That is amazing. Watching how Sam learned to trust, because Sam was like, all my cards are to my chest. And it was when he stepped into his own world is when he started to open up more. And I like that. And for Star, watching Star stop being so codependent on others and become dependent in a way where he's a part of a unit, if that makes any sense. And those are out of character moments. In character moments, one of the scenes is when Star helped Frankie come to balance with his past. Another was when Star and Tori had their dream musical. And God, there's so many. I'm trying to think of, it's hard to really capture it. And I would say, even though I feel like I face palmed a lot of time, but the trial I thought was kind of fun. So those are mine, but those are just a few because I have too many. But yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I also can't choose like just one. There's too many good ones. Like the stuff that first comes to mind was like Tori and Frankie in the graveyard with the murder unicorns. Like
That was fun.
that was just so fun and silly. And it was like one of the first times of Tori just saying, hey, look, you keep thinking you need to take care of me, deal with yourself first. I loved that so much. Black Powder and Sam having like the dad talk with Felix. First time we were in Frankie's world. Making Tori a blackberry pie in a dream. Star in the Dragon Age world when Obsidian first showed up. And just everything in Bee's world was just so light and refreshing. So yeah, it's really hard to just narrow it down to like a few things because I love the little bits. Like everything Sunshine Twins.
That was so good. I echo everyone. It's crazy to think of just one moment. I would say that one of the things that I really enjoyed, I think, as I guess you could say out of game or seeing it objectively or what I think was really amazing for all of us was when we were all working as a group together in some effort. I think that was really, really cool to see. Like in the casino was amazing, right? Like that was just amazing. We were all like, go, do that. Those moments, like Tetris was another one too. Like in that video game world, we were all working together as a team. Those were the moments that I think we all just were shining amazingly as a group. And I thought those are the scenes that are super, super cool to me. But then on a personal note, I do love those intimate scenes as well. And I think we all had so many of them. I think one of my favorites was when Frankie and Black Powder had that talk on the island. And he really solidified that bond that he wanted to have with BP. Things with Star. And of course, I mean, my all-time favorite has to be in Tori's world. The Sunshine, that I had so much fun with the tropes. And it was just, to get myself out of that comfort zone. Like, all right, play the sled, play the crazy one. And it was just so much fun to role play with Micah. He was doing the fool, and it was just a perfect pairing of characters. And I just had so much fun with that, Micah. Like we did, I think we just so much fun. I will forever remember that.
Since she brought it up, my biggest takeaway from this now is that for the ending scene, you know how in Shrek, the original movie Shrek, there was the final song, which was like, I'm a believer. So I feel like at the end of this series, Star and Stormy need to get up and start singing and all that jazz. I feel like that It'd be
Oh my gosh. We have redefined that.
We'll never hear that song the same way again.
No,
Never
and
the same
I'm
way.
so
'Cause
sorry.
I'll
Every
keep
time I hear the
hearing
word
something
jazz, I
else.
will.
You guys, like, I actually say that phrase. Like, yeah, I know that jazz. Now I'm like, oh, want to go
Oh
on.
dear.
I'm so sorry.
Can't really
I
say that anymore.
apologize. You know what? I
You ruined
apologize. Forgive me.
So funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so let's get back into it once and for all. We are back in Frankie's world again, and everybody is young and beautiful, including Sam and Black Powder.
I can say that for Sam, he would definitely be in the equipment area and working on getting some equipment. That way, because he knew Frankie had some catch up to do, and he figured that probably Tori did as well. So, with my experience, I actually have used some a little bit in preparation. And in Frankie's world, I have my trench coat that now can bend light and give me invisibility.
Ooh, yes! Oh.
As well as a little bit of a scarf that is in a very bright aqua blue. And it gives me limited armor for my throat, neck, and chest area, and also allows me to be immune to poisonous gases. So that's what Sam has been up to.
I love that. Yeah, that's so cool. Invisibility definitely helps with, meddling with evidence again.
Learned a thing or two from Tori.
In case you didn't learn that lesson from last time. And then Sam and whoever wants to follow him is going to go to the main lab, as in not Victor's lab, personal lab, but like the main lab where all the scientists are. And, you're going to go ahead and show them the blueprints. I will say at that point, that's when Victor and Frankie will arrive, because Victor was informed by Frankie about what Sam has.
I think Black Powder probably would have gotten Felix ready and then went with Sam. Just that way nobody's like going anywhere alone.
And then Tori was with Henry. I don't know if Tori is sticking around with Henry, or if she would have thought. I'm not sure if Tori would have thought to go to the science lab necessarily.
No, I don't think I would have thought that. So I probably would have stuck with Henry until I knew like Felix was in a better state.
Yeah, Frankie walks in, holding hands with Victor, kind of like guiding him in. Even though he's going through some of these things in his head, he's still instinctively very affectionate still with Victor, and kind of he's holding him as we walk in. Sam, I told Victor all your that you would have the plans. How are they coming on along?
Well, pretty good. There's a lot to figure out here. I'm not the most electrical engineering of everybody, but I see you've got some brains there. So whatever you can figure out on him, and I'll push him like across the table to like invite Victor to check him out.
Yeah, Victor's gonna walk over. He will like nod at Sam, and then he's just gonna go through the blueprints and the diagrams, and he's just gonna say, "Sam, this is great. Where did you get this from?"
Well, there was a different spot that was using sound in a different way, and luckily our stories just intertwined with it.
The thought had crossed my mind to do some sort of noise canceling algorithm or technology, but this brings it up to a very large scale. I think we can use this. I totally think we can use this, he says, and he'll hold up a hand to high five Sam.
Yeah, and he'll high five him back. The biggest pros is last time we encountered, challenges with that mind control thing. I was able to help Frankie, but if we're looking at helping as many as we can, it's something that definitely needs explored. That way, you can't be used against each other anymore.
Victor is continuing to look through the blueprints, and then he says, I think I have an idea. And he's going to go over to the main computer, and he's just going to minority report his way around. And he turns to the group and he says, I think I know where this brainwashing signal is going to come from. It took us a while to sort of figure out the location because we scoured the entire globe looking for a large satellite dish or someplace that we figure Kerwin and the rest of them are trying to maybe send a signal from. We realized we've been looking in the wrong place. The reason why we haven't been able to find where exactly such a device is because it's actually not on the Earth. And then he sort of brings up another shot of a space station that's sort of orbiting around the globe.
I'd let it be Elysium. Let it be Elysium.
I actually don't know what that reference is.
No, Matt Damon, Elysium with their. Oh man.
I guess not.
It's one of those movies.
Which movie?
Just
Is the movie Elysium?
It's called Elysium. So it's one of those movies, you guys. A little bit of a tangent. That when I first saw it, I was like, I don't really like this. But then it was like, holy crap! The social commentary behind that movie and our medical system today, like, mind blown.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
Victor just kind of says, so if we're right, and this is where their main base of operations is for this thing, my guess is that they are going to be using this satellite as the primary disk to send out the signal pretty much over a whole network of satellites that'll ultimately reach all corners of the globe. This secondary disk over here, I believe, is a supplementary or backup disk. Now, if we can somehow go to one of those, we can probably essentially use one to block the other, and that hopefully will give us a chance to destroy the entire base altogether, maybe from the reactor room or something. Sounds kind of crazy, but what do you all think? Victor asks.
Frankie turns to perhaps one of the other helpers, other soldiers that are kind of like around, and says in Ethan's voice, we're gonna need Henry's expertise. Can you please go fetch him?
They'll nod and they'll go find him.
And then he looks back and it's true, right? We're going to need Henry to maybe program something or interfere something. I don't know.
I definitely think we'll need Henry at least to hack into one of those satellites. But I don't know how heavily guarded this space station is. I'm assuming it's going to be heavily guarded. My guess is this is pretty much the main objective. So we're going to have to bring in all we've got, the heaviest weapons, the most trained soldiers, whatever we can in order to go in there and set some sort of explosive or something in the reactor room and then get out.
Well, what about Felix? He's our weapons expert, right? Is he still not in charge?
He is, but I don't know if he's in a fantastic state right now, to be honest. Even if I were to ask him to do it, I don't even know if he would say yes, honestly.
He's still upset about Agatha.
Upset doesn't even scratch the surface. He's have you seen Felix since you got here? He asked Frankie.
No. I mean, I came straight. I saw Henry outside before coming to look for you. As soon as we got here,
Well, Star and Veed are with him. He is in a pretty bad spot, but we're working on that.
Felix has been dealing with a lot, and I'm afraid to burden him with something else. Though, on the other hand, this might be a good distraction. But this is a very critical mission. Not that I don't trust his expertise, I do. I just don't know if I don't know if he would necessarily be physically and mentally up for it.
If he has to sit this out, then we have no choice. I know, Sam, you are good with weapons as well. You've been in military before. And, of course, Black Powder, he has expertise in leading a crew. I mean, this is kind of like boarding a ship, if we were to go there. But, I don't know. What is the plan? Are we just trying to do this remotely, or are we actually trying to go there?
They have heavy security on this thing, it seems, and I don't think we'll be able to hack those satellites remotely. I think we actually have to physically get in there, somehow.
And we will definitely need Black Powder to help us how to jump on this thing.
If we try to get into there, the main airlock would be the most obvious place, but that would probably, again, be the most guarded. I don't know if you all have any bright ideas as how to sneak on without going through the main airlock. That's not my expertise.
There's always Tori. She could just sneak in.
No, the disk operations control room looks like it has a door, but I would imagine there are going to be people in the operations control room.
If you could, please, one of the scientists signals at Victor, and Victor walks over to him and he says, "Yeah, what is it?" And the scientist says, "We were able to get some images from inside of the space station, and they'll show them a couple images of the interior. And first of all, you do see that there's one image of probably the hallways of the actual station around here. If you are able to see my ping, I know this is a huge map, giant map, and you can see that it does have some very well armed soldiers in there, fully armed soldiers with these crazy, almost mech-like looking suits. If you ever if you ever played StarCraft, the main units from the Terrans, you want a piece of me, boy, that. They've got the big mech suit looking things that almost kind of look like Buzz Lightyear suit, kind of, but even larger than that. And then there's another shot that shows a bunch of scientists at a computer, and Frankie, you see Victor's heart sink. His face turns white as he looks at that picture, and then he says, "No, that can't be. That can't be." He says, Can you enhance that picture?" And then they're just going to start enhancing it more, and it's going to enlarge. And if you go towards where Victor is and look over the monitor for him, go ahead and roll me a perception. Go roll me a perception.
Frankie
scene.
does walk up to Victor, seeing him get stressed, and kind of rubs his back. What is it? So perception.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll perception first. I'll see if 11 or 12. So there's this scientist that they're looking at. It's female. And this female has very similar features to Victor. Actually has Victor's eyes. And Victor says, "That's my mom. But my mom's dead."
This view.
With the enhanced images, you can see that this woman, first of all, has a very stoic, expressionless look on her face, which, sure, maybe if you're just looking at a random photo of a bunch of scientists at a computer, that probably makes sense. There's something about the expression that still feels dead to you. And she's got these very Deus Ex circuitry looking things across her forehead, definitely like implanted within her, and you can kind of see it actually extends to her fingertips even while she's like typing on the computer. So you can probably presume that that's not how Victor remembered his mom. She did not have those implants.
But your mother looks like how I used to look.
And it's not just her. These other scientists look the same way too.
They're all like changed their face, and they've got all these electronic things. That is not normal. What do you think Kerwin is doing to them?
One of the other scientists pipes up and says, "Isn't that the one right next to Victor's mom? Isn't that Bianca's dad?" And Victor looks at it and says, "Is this what they did with some of the people that they've killed? The casualties of the war?"
They just body puppet them.
Victor looks very uncomfortable all of a sudden, and he just swallows a little bit, and then you can kind of see a little bit of a panic in his eyes, Frankie.
Has to be an explanation, Victor.
I need a moment, he says, and unless you stop him, he's breaking away from the computer, and he's going to start to leave the room.
Frankie lets him go.
Okay, then he's gonna at least exit from at least this immediate room at the moment, out the door.
Lets him go, and then looks over at Sam and I don't know.
Now we got to look at the positive side of this. See if these are indeed casualties of the war who've been reanimated. That shows that there's a possibility for us to, once we put on this damper, possibly have more allies already in place. If they've got electronics controlling them and animating them, maybe when we get this damper in, it could possibly break up whatever signals are feeding them. We have to think about it as a possibility of waking them up, so to say.
Interference. It scrambles signal. Okay, that could work. And it would free them all, hopefully. But how do we get up there?
Is the image of that hallway still a park?
Yeah.
Just watching them, are they moving like normal people? Like watching their behavior, do they seem like normal people?
So it's not a video or a live feed. It's a still image.
It's just a still image.
It's a still
Okay.
image, yeah. If nobody's saying anything, it'll be at this point that the doors open again, and in will walk Henry and Tori. "Frankie, I'm here. What's going on?"
And goes back to Ethan's voice. We've discovered some new information about the signal that is causing all of us to go crazy, and perhaps some parents have been perhaps abducted and are being used. Look at the screen. Look at the image.
When Frankie starts talking in Ethan's voice again, Henry, it takes him aback, and he just blinks for a little bit, but he's also trying to listen to what you're saying, and since what you're saying, it seems a little more important than the fact that you're talking in Ethan's voice. He looks over at the screen, and he just goes, "Oh, this is bad. This is really, really bad. I don't know how... This is... Who else were they affected by this?"
Agatha,
You think so?
they have her body.
Is she in the picture? And Tori
No.
goes to look.
But apparently Victor's mom died. Agatha died and they have her body. I think it would be a safe assumption that she's under whatever this is too.
The animation. I mean, think about how I was created.
This seems different, though.
No, this seems twisted. This is like it's like they're even controlling their bodies. That's the only reason why I would think they would do that to Victor's mom. Victor's mom was a scientist, and she was integral in the major leap in technology with nanotechnology specifically.
So they're using them for their abilities? Like Agatha's abilities?
Possibly. It's also just a really, really good war strategy. Take the people you're fighting against, take the people they know, so they have to fight them. It's cruel, but it is smart.
Not just using their bodies, it's using their memories, it's using their skills.
As far as we know. And as Sam suggested, maybe try to save them,
Well,
which in a war situation could hurt efforts.
Carwin is one sick mother effer, he says.
so we put all our blasters on stun. We pull some punches, try to save them, and then take the satellites down.
Wait, satellites? Sorry, what are you all talking about? Henry has not been told about any of this stuff.
Yeah, what's
so
this?
You can fill him in if you'd like.
Yeah, Frankie just kind of defaults to Sam as kind of the brains of the operation. Come on, Professor X.
So the
Just telepathically tell him. That's another thing that his scarf does. Is it allows him to. Yeah.
so the
Frankie, Victor.
signals that are coming out are coming from this space ship. We're thinking that the best way to disrupt the signal and give everybody a better fighting chance is getting up there and putting it out of commission. We thought, who better to kick some ass up there than Frankie? Who better to lead the boarding party onto the ship than Black Powder? Who better to help us get in undetected than Tori? Who better to dazzle the asses off of these sick people than Star? I think if we work together, we can not only stop the signal from being able to affect everybody down here and give a better fighting chance, but recover the people who are currently up there, obviously against their will.
Oh, but what about all our other friends that we've made along the way? We could call them as well, can we not?
I think it's possible.
I'm sure
We're gonna
Carmen
need everyone.
could help. We have all the Phantom Smasher stuff that could be useful for something.
We'll take all the help we can get, but at the same time, I'm not going to ask you all to ask any of your friends to put themselves into danger.
Frankie turns again to the assistants and like, we need Star here now. Can you please go get Star?
They'll nod. and go off to get Star. And then Henry is going to say, "Wait a minute, where is Victor?"
You have to step out for a minute.
Victor had to step out when he saw his mother. Let me go get him.
"I think you should," Henry says, looking very deeply into Frankie's eyes.
He pats Henry on the shoulder as he exits to go search for Victor.
You'll, start looking around for Victor. You might ask people, like, if anyone's seen him, and they'll, like, point you to a direction that they said they saw him go down. And you'll eventually find him at, like, a balcony, some sort of balcony area that's sort of overseeing the training grounds a little bit of some of the soldiers that are, sparring and fighting and target practicing. And Victor, he basically has some sort of some sort of thermos in his hand with some sort of hot beverage, and he's taking a few sips from it right now. Presumably, maybe it's like a coffee or tea or something. But he's got a very distraught look on his face as he's just watching everything.
Frankie cautiously approaches Victor, stands next to him, not really saying a lot, kind of leans up against the balcony, looks out. Are you okay? I know seeing your mom must not have been easy.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. But it's not just that, Frankie. That's not the only reason why I'm so upset.
What is it? Talk to me.
You've spent so much time wondering if you were a monster. But the reality is, Frankie, I'm the monster. It's been me all along. What they did to our parents, what they did to all of the people who died, that's essentially what I did. I pretty much was playing with death, and for the longest time, I thought that the stuff that I was doing was a good thing. I mean, you were the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. But I'm beginning to see now that that's a really selfish way of looking at it.
This is what I was trying to tell you, Victor, earlier. This is why we have to leave this place for a bit. You'll see. It was never really you. We were created like this, just like you think you created me. It was all pre-written. You're not a monster. Never were.
Even if I did go, that doesn't change what I did.
No, all of us are like this.
I took pieces of dead people, and I built you out of that, Frankie. And I love you, and it's just, I can't, it just feels so hypocritical saying all those things about what Kerwin is doing, and it really isn't that far off from what I did. Whether it was written or not, I still did it.
It's not the same, though. What you did in making me, in creating me, it is an opportunity for me. I am not under anyone's control. You gave me life. It took me some time to accept, but the pieces that you used and the people, their memories, they are part of me. It's not like you created a monster. I always thought I was a monster. But meeting the people that I've met, the places I've been, it's liberated me. You started that. You put the pieces together. That's not a monster to me. And he'll kind of caress his face, leans in to kiss him. I will forever love you. It's true. We were written this way. But when it's out of your control, what else can you do? You're not a monster, and neither am I.
He'll accept the kiss. His tears are starting to like fall and stream down his face. And he will just clutch you and hold you very tightly. And then when he pulls away very briefly, he says, one of the things you said kind of resonated with me. When we're younger, I know I haven't really talked much about them, but my older brothers, one of them, he was diagnosed with a disease that ultimately led to his kidneys failing, and my brother was able to essentially give up one of his kidneys for him, and I guess that's kind of the same thing then, sort of.
Sure.
At least that's how I would like to think of it. Although I don't want to just justify it necessarily.
Sure. Just think of me as one giant blue kidney then.
That's like...
And he'll hug him tighter.
Said that's like the least romantic thing you've said to me this entire time. He said, "You're such a goof," he says, laughing.
I've changed quite a bit since the last time I was here. Let's just leave it at that.
He's gonna lean in and he's just gonna rest his head on your chest. And he's gonna say, this complicates things even more. I thought we could just go in, set some explosives on that reactor and just jump out, but now it seems like we can't do that until we at least try to take everyone in there that's being controlled out to safety. At least selfishly, that's what I would like.
Let's try it. If we can save them, why not? You know? Perhaps, again, thinking about how we were all pre-written, Kerwin was meant to be the villain. He is doing this because that is his role to play. And perhaps what we're doing is liberating your mother. I met some gods in my travels, and that is one thing I do remember about. It's one of them about freeing people. Maybe that's what we're here to do, right? Is to free everyone. Whatever Kerwin has done to your mom and the others, let's let this be a catalyst for perhaps a new beginning.
New beginning would be nice. That's why we're here. That's why we've been fighting this whole time. But I just hope that once we do this, I hope that is at least the beginning of the new beginning. I just hope that we can just end this war once and for all.
We all want that too. And my new friends are here, and I've seen what they can do. And believe me, we're going to need their help. Why don't we, let's rejoin them. Are you up for it?
Yeah. Because if I'm being honest with you, Frankie, I don't feel right leaving with you until everything is fixed here, or at least on the way of getting fixed here.
Oh, I agree with you. That's why we came back. We have to do what is right here, and like I said, I couldn't leave either without knowing that the people here were free of danger from Kuruan. It's strange to think about it. It's like he's a victim too. Strangely enough, it's his nature. That's how he was written.
He'll grab a hold of your hand and he'll squeeze it to the end. Then
Always.
he'll smile, and again he'll rest his head on your shoulder, and you can go back. You can walk back.
Yeah, he will kind of big spoon him on the way back with his arms around him. They enter the control room, or the war room.
Star, you're still with Felix. Felix is still... I mean, he's better. Not better. Better. And I don't know if there's anything you wanted to roleplay with him before one of the scientists comes and fetches you all, along with Veed.
While Star's with Felix, Star is gonna be like, so drink another cup of this coffee, because it's out of character. It's like really like granular. It's not like smooth coffee, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's nowhere near as good as the Lonic coffee.
Exactly. So Star will make sure he drinks another sip, and Veed is there, yeah?
Yeah.
So Star is gonna be like, while he's drinking that, Star's gonna like whisper in Veed's ear saying, I think we have a bit of a massive problem. Because he is still really broken up over his sister, like you should. But when I tried to help him clear the fog, I felt something that didn't feel quite like Felix. And I can't pinpoint it. It just felt connected, but far, far away. If that makes any sense.
Do you think you could probe deeper? Or do you think that would not be a good idea?
Well, in the state he's in right now, no. I need him to be a little bit more clear and sober for me to get to where I need to find the connection, I guess.
Right. Okay. I don't have any magical way of getting him more sober, so I guess wait a little bit then and ask if you could probe a little deeper. Maybe you can calm him down a bit with some music, like play him some jazz or something.
Oh, well, you know, if only those imps were here, we could just use their musical talent.
Yeah, if only those imps were here.
And Star will look at Veed and then look at at Felix and say, "You know what, buddy? You might be onto something." I don't want to scare him, and Star will be like, "I'll be right back." So Star's gonna step out to split up because I don't think Felix has seen Star do this, and since he's still trying to get him to sober up, Sapphire will step back around and say, "Yo, bro," and he'll punch Veed in the arm. "I think I might be able to help. Let's just see." So Sapphire will walk towards Felix while he's drinking the coffee and say, "Hi, can I touch you, but not in a weird way? I just need to touch you."
So out of character, you're blue now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think Felix is just gonna blink again, and he's probably just thinking it's part of his drunken hangover, and that's the only reason why you look blue to him right now. And go ahead and roll a persuasion.
Okay. One of my many talents is to help people, relax and mellow out. And I think that's important because, like, you're in a bad state. And also, Tori's here. And, bro, right now, you're still kind of a mess.
At this point, I'll do whatever you think will help.
Yeah. I do this out of friendship, and I swear to you, I am not being a perv.
I'm like, where exactly are you touching him?
Yeah, where?
Like, I'm getting
I
like,
had a pretty good success.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's happening?
Because he's touching his shoulders, but again, people are weird about people being in their personal
That is true.
space.
Sapphire spreading the jazz. Go ahead.
Yes, he's spreading all that jazz. No.
I can't.
this is going into the gutter.
Right out in the open. Right out
Going
in the open.
to the gutter so fast.
Right.
But I swear to you, this is in a purely platonic way. Purely platonic. I'm not a perv.
Call Stormy. I'm calling Stormy. Let him know what's happening. Spreading the jazz.
Sapphire's gonna be like, "Okay, bro, just relax, sip your coffee, and just chill, bro." And so when he touches him, he's gonna start to feel calm. It's not really gonna make him feel any less worse, but just more mellow. Almost like a high without the high, if that makes any sense.
Wow, Felix says. That feels good. How did you do that?
Sapphire like, "Magic hands, bro. Jazz hands."
I feel like I just took a massive amount of cold medicine all of a sudden, he says. I feel really lightheaded.
And while he's teetering, Sapphire will put an arm behind him to kind of keep him up. He'll turn towards Veed. "See, bro, I knew it would work, like, every time. Like, and look, he's like in a happy space right now, man."
Veed looks towards Felix, and Felix he's kind of like, he's not stumbling over things, but he's definitely like teetering a little bit. And Veed says, "Is that an improvement? I guess he's less moody."
Sapphire will be like, "He's less moody. That's a win." And he was like, "All right, everyone, let's form back up."
It'll be at this point that the scientist finally comes and says, "Felix, Henry needs you in the lab." And Felix says, "Oh yeah, the lab. Let's go to the lab, folks." And he's just gonna get up and start meandering over to the lab area. And Veed says we should follow him.
At this point, Star will be back to Star, and Star will be like, "Yep, think I kind of overdid it, but it was a necessary of evils. Let's go.
I will say that by this point, Henry and Victor have come back, and then Felix and Veed and Star will now enter into the lab. Just so that Tori knows, visually, Felix. Well, fortunately, they cleaned him up a little bit, so he's basically wearing like a clean set of soldier suit, but he is a bit like scruffy, like he hasn't shaved in a little bit, and his hair is. I would say that Star would have fixed his hair, because his hair was definitely unkempt when you saw him.
Mm-hmm.
Very something about Mary with the jazz.
My God.
His breath kind of reeks of alcohol mixed with coffee, so there's that thing going on with him, and he looks a little slightly loopy if you look into his eyes, and he kind of stumbles into the lab, and then he tries to like force himself to stand up straight, and he'll look towards you all's direction and says, "Oh, hey," he says, looking towards them all.
Hey.
He's gonna look at Tori, and he's gonna blink at Tori again and says, "Tori, welcome back," he says, and he kind of rubs his forehead a little bit and says, "Sorry, I just I've been tired lately. Everything looks a little fuzzy," he says, looking in your direction.
Right. I'll just cut straight to the chase then. Felix, I died. That's probably why things look a little weird.
What? You what? He says. He suddenly starts to come out of his stupor a little bit. "It's a long story," Henry says.
Yeah, we can talk about it later, but I'm a ghost, but I'm still here, and...
What? You're a... How? What? How? What? Felix just seems really, really at a loss for words.
I can explain it a little later. That there's something, some blueprints and stuff that Sam wanted to share, right, Sam?
Was a big weed eater.
Right, Felix says. Okay.
It wasn't pretty.
We need to talk later then, Felix says to Tori.
Yeah.
Henry and Sam, I'm sure, and Victor will fill Felix in the interest of time.
Yeah.
And Felix will say, okay. I can definitely help come up with the explosives to take out that reactor. That's not a big problem. If there's any way we can get some sort of information on what's going on military-wise in there, it might be able to help us prepare. If they have Victor's mom, then that's going to mean that they probably are going to be using a lot of nanotechnology, which means that simply going in guns a-blazing might not be enough, because those things can auto-repair damage like that. So there has to be some way we can disrupt that technology so that we're not essentially trying to fire it, regenerating like suits of armor and machines and stuff.
Will they also see us coming? Like, I mean, they have 2 big satellites. Will they see us? Do we have some sort of cloak?
We have ships that can probably fly us there, but our cloaking technology is probably not going to be advanced enough for them to not notice. So that's certainly going to be a possibility, unless anyone has any bright ideas as to how to beef up our stealth.
I can go invisible.
Yeah, but can you
Same.
make a whole ship invisible?
Oh, whole ship. No.
Because we all have to go. I mean,
What if it's a supply run?
What if our ship was a massive flavor zord? At that point, it wouldn't matter if we were stealthy or not. Veed says.
Because our main goal is to get that satellite non-functional, right? What if there was a distraction ship or two? And while they were working on that one, maybe they won't be paying attention to another one slipping in.
like a decoy.
Uh-huh. It'd be dangerous, but might be able to get a small team in to get that satellite how we want it.
Victor will say we definitely should have multiple teams anyway, because until that one of those satellites is deactivated, we can't send in any of our psionic soldiers, because they're just going to be affected by the waves. So,
Well, what about Sam's protections for them?
do we have enough for the entire army? For our entire army? So I guess maybe we can have a handful of our psionic soldiers coming with us solely to go and go hijack one of the satellites, stop that signal from being sent, at which point we can open the floodgates and send the rest of our forces in. Try to save people from within this space station, blow up the reactor, and get out of there as quickly as we can.
If we have the flavor zord nearby, if we can get some of the people freed up, we can load them onto the flavor zords and rescue as many as we can.
It would require some experimentation, Veed says. Normally when we're in other worlds, we can only maintain our forms for a minute, but I don't know if the Zords would necessarily go away after that minute. I'm not sure. Haven't tried. Might be worth it, though.
But we have to use all of our available skills and powers to do this.
Henry said, you all said that you might have friends that can help. How many of them are non-psionic? Out of character, all of them.
All of them.
Pretty much non-psionic.
All of them.
Well, again, I am not asking you to put anyone else in danger. But if you think that they're willing to help, I'm not gonna say no to people who are willing to help our cause.
Okay, so the psionic people are affected by sound waves, and we need a disruptor. Is there a way where you can amplify my sounds?
Sure, Victor says.
The reason I was thinking, maybe I can do almost like sound echolocation, or maybe increase my volume because I'm a singer, and also I can do magic and Star's hand will glow. Is there a way where we can combine the two, light and sound, to be a weapon?
I like your thinking, Victor says. Yeah, I think we can pull that off.
Star will smile.
Yes, here's a question. Do we want to try and call on our friends?
They have magic like Star, and it could work here, and they would not be vulnerable to the signal to control them. It's a chance. It's risky.
Saphir.
Felix says, my recommendation, before we start any of our major planning, is we need to figure out who all our players are here. So if you've got people that you want to join us in this cause, I say you ask them, invite them, and then everyone who's involved reconvene here, because I have no idea what your group of friends can do, what their abilities are, what their strengths and weaknesses are. Once we know that, then we can come up with an actual plan of attack here, Felix said. And we don't need helpers who necessarily are there just to fight. even if you have people who can probably help down here in the lab, or comms, or anything, if they're smart, if they have other talents that we can probably leverage, we'll take them, Felix says. We got a lot of smart friends, Bede says, and a lot of very talented friends, too.
Maybe we should get together and have a chat. Just the 6 of us. Decide if we want to bring anyone else in. There's some I do think would be helpful.
Bede says, I hope we don't get a big major phone bill from the library after we make all these calls, he says.
Does I'll sue him.
We'll just have Dan the man pay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I hope Dan the man paid for unlimited data.
I'm pretty sure he owes us rent anyways at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Well, Tori, I know you had to talk to Felix a little bit. So, as we're making some phone calls, feel free to take the time you need.
Will do.
All right, well, how much time do you need? 24 hours, 48 hours?
We'll do it in 12.
12? Okay.
My help will do it in 10.
All right, girls, your vote.
Just to be safe, Felix says, because I probably will need the time. Let's just say reconvene here in 24 hours.
I like your thinking, Felix.
Victor is going to turn to Frankie and he says, I'm gonna be really stressed out, Frankie. I feel like I need something to distract me within the next 24 hours, he says, and he kind of gives you a little bit of a grin.
More jazz.
Think of something. I picked up a few new skills along the way. Don't ask.
Oh, he says, wow, I might have to evaluate said skills. He says, we need to make sure that you're in tip-top condition. I might have to just make sure that your body's physically ready for what's to come.
Mhm.